collaboration site. And so it's called Flip Learning. And oops, I apologize. I'm on where here it is. This is what it looks like. He also is a Ning. How many are familiar with Nings? Nings are just like blogs, yeah. So you have to, but the thing about a Ning is you have to ask to join it. So you can just sign up over on the side there and say, I'd like to be a part of this Flip Learning network. And then it gives you access to all those small groups he was talking about, like middle school math teachers, high school math teachers, algebra teachers, geometry teachers. And then you can actually, it's kind of like a PLC online where you're able to collaborate with other teachers who have done these things already, learn from each other. It's kind of an online community that you can participate in. Before you ask to join, though, he also has many resources here that you can have access to without joining the groups. And there are videos here that are also very helpful. These are some of the groups that he is talking about that are available. If you view all, there are 88 groups. History teachers, here's the first-time flippers. Remember we talked about that? Mm-hmm. So there are all kinds of different things to explore here. You could lose a lot of time here, that's for sure. So I don't want to overwhelm anyone, but at the same time, I did just kind of want to expose you to some resources that would allow you to get started, today. You know what I mean? You could go to downtown, take a walk to Naperville. You know, you're in a store and you have your phone and you take a video and you say, okay, you know, which should I buy, this or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes it's just getting started and doing it. And I think that's would be my advice to you, is to just try it. And I think your kids will really like it. Do you have any questions or concerns? I do know a little bit about the technology. I could help a little bit with that part if you're interested. He went into the program he showed was a little complicated. I'm not sure if some people were like, oh, that looks way too hard, I can't do it. That's why I wanted to show an approach where it was like, no, you could do it in a really, like the whiteboards. Now, did you know if you go to Home Depot, you can buy a big sheet of whiteboard material, and if you tell them you're a teacher, they'll cut it for you for free. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Actually, a teacher told me that. And so you can actually, and it's very inexpensive. I think it's like $6 or $7 for a giant sheet. So for example, that lady that had the whiteboards on the chalk ledge and just slid them, you know, you could do it like that and just write everything out ahead of time, put a video camera up, and video yourself teaching the lessons on the whiteboards, just sliding them. I thought that was kind of a low cost, easy way to kind of start if you're kind of wondering how to get started. Yeah.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
About technology. The MP4, that would be good for, how would kids access that?
Yeah, MP4 is the most generic type of video extension. So it doesn't matter if they have a PC or a Mac.
Oh, okay.
You know, because you know how you can't use Word unless you have Word. You know how that works. So that's the same idea with the video. So MP4 is just like a PDF. You know how you can open a PDF file on any computer? MP4 for a video file.
So how would I put that out there for the kids then if it was MP4? So I would.
Right. So that would be where you would need to find somewhere to host the site, kind of like Edmodo. So
okay.
Let's say as a teacher you create an account on Edmodo, and then you get a group code, and the students join.
Okay.
You post the video, they watch it.
And then what about Moodle? I saw that just kind of pop up. Is there a cost involved?
Moodle's a subscription
okay.
service, yeah. Usually schools have subscriptions to Moodle.
Okay.
But Google, a lot of schools are going with Google Drive and Google Docs and Google Emails. How many of you are using that? You can upload videos very easily to Google Drive and share with your students. You know like how you share a Google Doc?
Yes.
You could share a video the same way.
Okay.
Also, you can make a teacher web page very easily in Google Sites, S-I-T-E-S. You can make a very basic web page and then just post all your videos to that, and then all students could access it just through that one page. Then you wouldn't have to do all that sharing.
Right.
You just upload it one time to your Google site, and then the students give them the link to it, and then they have access to it.
We have My Good Campus at our school, on our school's webpage. You know anything about
I'm not
that?
familiar with that one.
What was also where it
My-
has
My
access to
Big
the grade book
Campus.
and you post your assignments and
It's
all
like
of
a
that.
Facebook.
We're just kind of learning.
Right.
We just got,
Look
just
Yeah,
like
Power
Facebook.
School, we used to have Power School.
Yeah, Power School, we have Power School
What
too.
is Power School?
Power School is more like for grading though, it's more for grades, I think, and, student information, database type stuff. But, Google Sites, I mean, seriously, you could make a Google webpage in 10 minutes. No kidding. It's a template, super easy. Yeah, it's really super easy, definitely. So,
I think the YouTube would go for my lower level kids are always on YouTube. so-
right, if your school has access to YouTube, that's, yeah, we can't access YouTube at our school, so. But, and you know, if this is something that you feel like you kind of want to get started today, maybe, you know, if you have time tonight or whatever, and I'm gonna be here tomorrow and Thursday also. So, you know, if you run into questions or concerns or anything, I'd be happy to help troubleshoot that with you. That's what I do at work. I'm a media specialist, and so I help the teachers do these kinds of things all the time. So if you feel like it's something you kind of like to get started, I'd be happy to help you troubleshoot.
That is so nice.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, I'm happy to. I just am so excited about this idea and really want to encourage people to get started as much as possible. Any other?
A question that came up at lunch, I forget, it may be, was you, Julie,
What?
regarding assessment.
Yes.
Did you want to pose a question there?
Well, and I can put this out there to the group. So I asked John about assessment and he kind of skirted around the issue. You know, my concern is, I teach higher ed, but I teach technology classes, and so I already do kind of flip with my students. And a lot of our in-class activity that we do is breaking apart what their prior knowledge they've already come to class prepared with. And one of the things that he said was, you know, the prove it to me assignment, the prove it to me that you've learned whatever you've done, which I think is a great idea. I'd love to do that with my students, but how do you assess that? You know, and Tanya and I went for a walk, we were talking, you know, you're gonna have those kids who are going to always go above and beyond. Obviously, they're gonna get an A. And then you have those who are, like my son, who will, how many points do I need to get an A? How many questions on the test do I have to get right to get the A? And I'm not gonna get any more right, because why would I waste my energy doing that? That kind of thing. And then you have those kids who have really put forth a lot of effort, but their product doesn't reflect that, but you know, because like Tanya said, maybe they live in a foster home and they don't have the supplies that are available to them, but they've done a great job for them, but when you compare their assignment to your, you know, stellar student, they just don't compare. How do you assess that? Is the first question. And the second question is, for me, and probably all of you, not just higher ed, the adult learner, they want to know what every point is going to be going towards.
Right.
And when you take a point away, why did that point go away?
Correct. I think that's right, Todd?
I don't have that issue, mine are written, I use the rubric.
Right,
I was gonna
that's
say,
only if you have a standard product.
That's true. And I think those are all good questions, and I have a couple different ideas. One is the theory of differentiated instruction. I was actually lucky enough to go to the University of Virginia and see Caroline Tomlinson for 2 weeks in the summer a few years back. And one of the things she talks about is, you know, that's the climate we create in our classroom. Every student in this classroom is going to get what they need. If you had a broken arm and you had a headache and you had the flu, and I said take an aspirin, take an aspirin, take an aspirin, the aspirin isn't going to help everybody in the same way, right? So you go to the doctor gives you what you need to make you better, right? So our kids in school come to get what they need to learn. Just like not all students are going to get the same assignment. They're going to get what's appropriate for them. So you could turn that around and apply that to the assessment. What's an A for one student's product might not be an A for another student. However, you do need to have some sort of a framework. And that's where I think a loose rubric or a list of requirements or something has to be in place. Because you're right, there are going to be those kids that be like, well, why would I do that if I'm not going to get extra points for it? So I think as long as you thought about what the objective of the assessment was, and you included those criteria in some sort of a framework, whether it were a rubric or a checklist or something like that, then you could literally go through and be like, yep, you had that, yep, you had that, you know. And then that's kind of where it's up to the teacher to decide what is an appropriate assessment for this particular activity or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I think that would vary depending on the objective of the assessment and also the length of the time that you spent on it, you know, that kind of thing. So that's the one thing. The other thing too, I think assessment is such a gray area. You know, some teachers feel like everybody has to, you know, do exactly the same thing or it's not fair. this is the best that student can do, they should get an A, because they did the best they could. And if if this product looks much better than this product, but I know this student could do better, is it fair to give them all the points for it? Probably not, you know what I mean? That's something we struggle with, I think, as educators, you know? So I don't know if there really is a right answer to that.
That's the struggle I'm having.
Yeah, and I agree, it is a struggle.
I've been doing a project in calculus for the last few years at the end of the term, and I've just decided they get 100%. They have to go through and show it to me, and if I don't think it's good enough, I send it back until it's 100%. But what motivates them is then we all the kids evaluate each other, and I have some little prizes on who gets the best at the end. So the kid who's really wanting to do that, I mean, they really got into that, some of them did. And then there were kids who just did what they had to do, and I was fine with that because, you know, they got other things in their life going on. This isn't the
That's
most,
a good idea.
you know, so.
I like the peer evaluation too.
Yeah,
That's
it
a
was,
really
and
good
they're
idea.
tougher on each other than
Yeah,
I
of
would
course.
ever be.
Right.
Yes.
Right, that's a great idea. You could even make it anonymous, like with a Google form, where the kids could vote or something, you know, so they wouldn't even know who was
Yeah, you could do a
voting.
survey or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Right. I don't like them getting too nasty though, so
Yeah.
I want to know who they were.
Right, yeah. It is, yeah, and I think that's just philosophically a struggle that we kind of have to decide. That's a great, great question. But I think there is room for places for assessment, like the notes, for example. And, you know, are they working collaboratively with their group that they're working on the assignment for the day? You know, how we do that now when you give students an activity to do in class? Are you working together, you know, or is everybody contributing? So I think that would be another way that you could give points within class for that independent guided practice time. Any other questions or concerns? How many think there might get started? You don't have to commit totally, but you think you might get started? I hope so, I hope so. And I liked also what he said about flip one lesson. Don't be like, you know, it's all or nothing. Do one lesson a week. Set a goal for yourself, you know, maybe one lesson a week, or maybe one lesson a unit, or something like that, and give it a try and see if you see a change in the way the students respond. What did you think about that cheese video? Did you think that was good? I like that idea. I think giving kids the real world applications and with Common Core and everything that's going on, I think it's really important. And then that could be a homework assignment. You know, you could post that on Edmodo, and then the students watch the video, and then they have to say which they think is the better deal and why. And then they have to actually show the math, showing that they know how to do it. Quick and easy.